creation song. The earth and everything in it, the world and all who live in it, belong to you, O God. You build it on the deep waters, laying its foundations in the ocean depths. The heavens herald your glory, O God, and the skies display your handiwork. Day after day, they tell their story, and night after night they reveal the depth of their understanding. When I behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you set in place, what is humanity that you should be mindful of us? Who are we that you should care for us? You have made us in your image and crowned us with glory and honor. You have made us responsible for the works of your hands, putting all things at our feet. All sheep and oxen, yes, even the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and whatever swims in the paths of the seas. O God, how majestic is your name in all the earth.
Okay, now.
We're still having some microphone issues, so. Before we leave this slide, I took this picture at Ghost Ranch, New Mexico. In the upper left-hand corner is the approaching conjunction of Venus and Jupiter this summer, which was amazing to see. Each night they got a little bit closer together and a little bit closer together. How majestic is your name in all the earth, O God. Can I get an amen? Amen. So today we're talking about place on earth. These last Sunday, today, and next Sunday is kind of a, I don't know what you want to call it. I'm dumping on you a lot of what I learned this summer on my sabbatical. And today is the middle part of that 3 months, which I spent in Ghost Ranch, New Mexico. Place on earth. So we're going to think about how we're connected to earth. The workshop I attended was called Earth Honoring Faith, Native Wisdom Dialogue, and it was June 22nd to 28th at Ghost Ranch, which is a truly amazing place. It was a dude ranch originally, and it has some interesting history. It also is the place where Georgia O'Keeffe did almost all of her painting, and it now is a Presbyterian retreat center and camp. So it's a wonderful thing that we can have this open to us. I wasn't originally planning on going to this workshop, and as I was putting my plan for the sabbatical renewal leave together, it kept coming up. And as it turns out, this was the pivotal piece of my renewal leave, my time at Ghost Ranch, for a number of reasons. And I'll share some of that with you as we move forward. So I flew to Albuquerque, rented a car. I spent a couple of days in Santa Fe. We have some friends who live near there. And then I got in the car and drove to Ghost Ranch. I'd read a lot about it. I'd seen pictures. And I thought, there's just a little sign by the highway. I thought, I hope I see it. But as soon as I got close, I knew I was there. This is the sign, welcome to Ghost Ranch. And this is the road that drives up into that place, leading to this absolutely, I get goosebumps just talking about it. There's a big field in the middle. I'm standing on the porch area of the chapel, and that's my room, under that incredible cliff. This place, you can't be there and not understand the hand of Creator in pulling all of this together. It was so full of spirit. It was also full of rain, and it was in the 90s. It was hot. So, the whole focus of this week at Ghost Ranch was about place. It was about how we understand place. It was about listening to our native elders. There were 5 native elders who joined us in this workshop. It was about hearing from them what place means for them. So let's start with the definition of place so we all have some basic understanding. It's a particular portion of space. So this is a place, that's a place, this is a place. It's also a specific portion of space normally occupied by anything. So there's a place on your kitchen counter for the coffee maker, right? Okay. It's also a space, area, or spot set apart or used for a particular purpose. So this church is a place specifically set aside for a purpose. Now, as we sat together, again, in this, it's hard to concentrate when you're sitting in a place that's so beautiful as this, but there were 40 of us who were trying to grapple with an understanding of space. Those of us who are immigrants, which is most of us, to this place which was inhabited before it was discovered. Got that? We have a different understanding of place than the people who are rooted in the earth. And in our discussions with the native elders, I think I knew that, but I didn't get it until we spent this whole week talking about how important for native people is not just a place, but this place where I and my people are rooted. Most of us have lived in different places. Some people have wound up living in the same place most of their life, but a lot of us have moved. I think I've lived in 23 different places in my life. So we don't have that understanding of being rooted to the earth. It's a whole different understanding of place. Well, there were 2 women who were our hosts for this week. They come from the Santa Clara Pueblo in New Mexico. There are 19 pueblos in the state of New Mexico, each with its own character. Some are different tribes that come from different native peoples. We were in an area that was inhabited by Tewa people. And Rena and Tessie, 2 sisters, were from the Santa Clara Pueblo, and they are Tewa people. And Rena had this amazing way of talking about how her people think about place and about earth. This is their Pueblo worldview according to Rena. Creator is not gender. All things work together. Our task is to be present as part of the whole. You've heard some of this language before about being connected and being part of a web. But this is rooted in Rena and Tessie's existence as Tewa people. Each of us is always at the center of creation. We don't conflict with each other. One is not better. Both just are. Could we learn something from this? Rena had a beautiful way of describing that she sees herself as part of the circle of creation. And somebody else is also at the center of a circle of creation. And they overlap. It doesn't mean that one wins and one loses. It means that we share space and that we honor the space that we share. Rena is a very soft-spoken Tewa woman who's an architect, incredible, educated woman who is filled with this very understanding. She just doesn't say that. She lives that. And it was so great to be around both she and Tessie, who welcomed us white folk into that community. This was their land. We were the settlers. And yet there was this openness. Not every native person has that openness, and with good reason, given what's happened to them. And there's a whole litany of those things, which we heard and we had to listen to and not fix, just understand what's happened. Anyway, so Rena and Tessie had arranged for our group to go to Owinge, which is also known as San Juan Bautista Pueblo, which was about 25 miles from Ghost Ranch, for a feast day. On June 24th is the feast day of San Juan Bautista, John the Baptist. So we went to Owinge, and it was a really interesting mixture. Of course, there's a church there. There's a Catholic church. And the big part of the feast is celebrating St. John. So we gathered at the church and had a procession to the Rio Grande, where somebody went and scooped up water out of the river. The archbishop, the brand new archbishop in Santa Fe, was there. Incredible man who spoke mostly in Spanish. And he blessed the river and then blessed all the people there, celebrating the baptizing of John, the baptizing John did. It was a wonderful experience. There were probably 100 people in this procession. It was about a mile from the church to the river. We were led by a band. There was a violin and a guitar and a drummer and someone playing rattles. It was so amazing. 3 statues, small statues of St. John, and one was the Virgin Mary, and I can't remember what the other one was. But it was really amazing to experience that. And then, back at the Pueblo, we had Mass, in which everybody was welcome to the table, which is unusual for Catholic churches. But we were all welcomed by the Archbishop to come receive communion. This is the window of Guadalupe, who's the patron saintess of Mexico. And there were Guadalupes everywhere, beautiful Guadalupes. And after Mass, it was time for the native dances. Now, we had been well trained to attend this event because it's not our thing. No photographs, no videos, unless you buy a permit to do that, and no applause. That really surprised me. This is something sacred to them, and you don't applaud, you appreciate it. So it essentially was a line dance with alternating men and women, boys and girls. The men were dressed, this was a Comanche dance. The Tewa people are not aggressive folks, but they love the Comanches, who were aggressive folks. So they love to do this dance, imitating the Comanches. And it was so incredible. I was this close to the line of dancers, from me to Bruno. And the guys had all different kinds of things on. There were feathers, there were these beautiful bustles made of feathers, there was fur, and the women had on these very simple kind of capes, and they were carrying arrows that were decorated, and they just kind of walked like this. They were very demure, was the word used. It was incredible, and so they would walk all the way down and circle back, and accompanying them was a whole line of drums. So this is outdoors in the plaza in the Pueblo. It was incredible. You could feel that drum beat in you, and it kept the dancers all together. They also did a buffalo dance, which is specific to the Tewa people, and celebrating the buffalo, which kept them alive a lot. Being in this Pueblo was really amazing to me. It was so different. It wasn't the norm. It was very unusual. We were invited to have lunch at somebody's house. A group of 5 of us were invited, and we were told this was a possibility. And we were also told, if you go, there'll probably be a line, because this is a tradition. And when you go in, you eat and then leave. Don't hold up the line. Well, there was no line at the house we went to, and the hostess, Connie Bird, didn't want us to leave. The table was full of great food, some of which was way hotter than I expected, but I ate it, and it was good, and I survived. And she told us stories about her ancestors, about her 11 children, it was truly amazing to be welcomed, total strangers, into a home in this Pueblo. That sense of welcome, as I said, is not universal among Native people. But in this place, they pride themselves on that welcome. It was also interesting to see the mix of Native and Roman Catholic influences. I can't really explain that or describe it, except that they kind of cross over, and it's a very interesting thing. This shirt I'm wearing I actually bought at the Pueblo there. Part of the fiesta, of course, is a bunch of crafting stuff, and they have a store there that's an artist cooperative. And I went and found this shirt, which many Native men were wearing, these ribbon shirts. And it says to me all of this understanding of what it means to be a Native person rooted deeply to the earth. And it also helped me understand what my place is, especially with Rena's Center of Creation concept. It also makes me want to find out who were the people, who were the First Nations people who inhabited this place. And I'm hoping that through the fall we can do some research and understand who the natives were who are on this ground. I think they were Chinookan, I'm not sure, but have some contacts, and hopefully we can come to a better understanding and reach some kind of connection, whether it's face-to-face or not. But to understand that we came after, and who are those folks for whom we came after. I think that's a good project for us for this fall. So I like this quote. When asked by an anthropologist what Indians called America before the white man came, an Indian simply said, ours. And that's not